Hey there guys, this is Halocraft. Welcome everybody. You may notice that I have a new background. I have a lovely little scented candle over here, cinnamon flavoured. I kind of feel like because it's cinnamon, I might be cheating on the season a little bit. So tell me down there, do you think that cinnamon is just for winter, or can it be an autumn thing as well? I personally think it's autumn too. I also have some fairy lights and some other things on display in the background over here. So today I thought I'd make myself feel old by talking about things that were around when I was a kid. Some of them aren't around anymore, so a lot of kids these days won't know what they are. That kind of makes me a bit sad. So let's go on a nostalgia trip, talk about what was around when I was young. So the first thing are these weird gooey alien pods. It was like this little jelly alien that was wrapped in this weird goo stuff in a plastic pod. And there were always rumours that if you put them in the fridge or you put them back to back and stuff like that, somehow you could make them have a baby. I've never managed to make it have a baby, and it's probably just a myth. But let me know down there if you've ever managed to make one of those alien things have a baby. The next thing is Tamagotchi. Tamagotchi was a little plastic game thing where you basically had your own virtual pet that you had to look after and feed. If you left it for a long time, sometimes they would die, or you'd come back and find it behind like a million screens of poop, which takes forever to clean out. Very tragic. It gave you a very authentic experience of being a pet owner. The next thing is word art. These days we have a similar thing to word art, but it's not the same. Old word art was much better. There were much more different versions and textures. Everybody had their favourite. This was my personal favourite. It does make me kind of sad that the kids these days won't know what word art was. Let's all just shed a tear for word art. And the next thing was these weird shape games. So basically you had a board with different shaped holes in it, and you had a shape that matched each hole. You had to put all the shapes in the right hole before the timer ran out, at which point it would pop up and all the shapes in the hole would come flying out. I remember this being a very fun game, but also kind of stressful as the time limit was never enough to finish it. When I was young I had a Gameboy Advance. I don't actually have it anymore because I was silly and got rid of it before I realised just how rare they are these days. But it was an awesome thing to have. One of my favourite games at the time was Rayman Adventures. I've got to say, the Game Boy was one of my favourite things when I was young. The next thing is something that every kid wanted. Literally every kid. And I was lucky enough to have some at one point. Moon boots. They're just a rubbish piece of plastic with a little shoe marking attached with some elastic which bounced a bit when you walked. But for some reason everyone was so excited about having them. It was like a craze, like loom bands. It was literally that bad. They were rather entertaining though. I did try and go up the stairs in them once. I can tell you that didn't work out very well. The next thing is something we had in primary school. I'm not sure the specific name for it, but I'm going to call it a Bouncy Hopper. It was basically like a bouncy ball with a rim of plastic around the middle, and you'd have to stand on the plastic and try and bounce on it. I always used to fall off of that. I was rubbish at it. But then there were so many people who were good at it, and I was kind of jealous of them. The next one a fair amount of people will remember. Videotapes. Back in the day, rather than having DVDs or Netflix, we had big chunky videotapes that you'd have to put in and watch, and then once you'd finished watching it you'd have to press the rewind button. It would take about 10 minutes to rewind so that you could watch it again next time. Videos were a great part of my childhood. It's very nostalgic thinking about it. The quality wasn't great looking back on it, but that is compared to what we have now. Also, my brother used to always stick little toys in the video hole on the TV, so it did get broken quite a lot. So next is another games console, the Nintendo 64. The graphics for this console have always been relatively bad, but it used to be quite an iconic thing because obviously graphics weren't that good for anything. But now, having a really good TV and a very old games console doesn't really work out very well. You can't really see much when you try to play, but it's still a cool thing to have. I rate the Nintendo 64 very highly. I remember there was a shooting game that I can't remember the name of that I always wanted to play, and my mum always told me that I couldn't play it until I was 13 or something like that. So it's the first thing I played on my birthday. And the final thing is toys you get from food. Firstly, you used to quite often get toys in cereal, which was exciting because having a brother, it was always a competition as to whose bowl of cereal the toy would land in. I don't know why we were so competitive about that. Siblings, you know, they're rivals about everything. Unfortunately, they don't do cereal toys anymore, but some fast food chains still do toys in their kids' meals. Now, I must say that the old toys that you would get in kids' meals were much better. I remember little games consoles, like just a little plastic thing where you could play like an 8-bit pixel game or something like that. But it was much more interesting than the rubbish little figures that you get these days. I do wish they would bring those back. They were awesome. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment down there if you remember any of these things and feel nostalgic about them. And if you don't know about any of these things, I hope this video was a good insight to my childhood. There's links down below to subscribe and go to my side channel where I post bloopers and all sorts of silly things. But for now, I will see you next time. Bye!